My husband's parents insisted. I saw a prenup saying, "This is Luke's house and you'll leave." I never imagined my wedding day would begin with a legal document. I stood in the ornate sitting room of Luke's family estate, my wedding dress still hanging untouched upstairs, as his mother slid the crisp pages across the polished oak table. Her perfectly manicured finger pointed to the final paragraph, bold and cold, "This is Luke's house. In the event of divorce, you will leave immediately with no claim." I stared at the words, my heart stinging. "You understand, dear," she said sweetly, like she wasn't gutting me. "We're only protecting what Luke built." But it wasn't just Luke. We built this life together, late night studying, ramen dinners when we couldn't afford takeout, his first real estate flip, my spreadsheets and sweat that helped it succeed. Yet now, it was his house. His empire. And I was, what? A guest? Luke hadn't warned me. He stood silently behind his parents, shame flickering across his face but no words escaping his lips. That silence hurt more than the prenup. Still, I signed. I signed because I loved him. Because I thought love would conquer even the cruelest fine print. The first few months of marriage were hopeful. Luke was kind, apologetic even. He said he didn't know his parents would make it so extreme. I wanted to believe him. I needed to. I poured myself into the relationship, into making our house a home, planting flowers, cooking dinners, framing memories. But over time, I noticed the shift. He stopped saying ours. Everything became mine. My house. My decision. My family. And I became smaller in my own life. Then, one rainy Tuesday evening, I came home early from work. The house was quiet, except for muffled voices upstairs. I hesitated, then followed them. Luke was on the phone. "She'll leave if it ends. The prenup guarantees it. No mess." I stood frozen in the hallway. It wasn't the betrayal, it was the indifference in his voice. Like I was disposable. Like I had never mattered. That night, I packed a bag and walked out into the rain. No fights, no tears. Just the sound of my footsteps on the pavement. I started over. I rented a tiny studio apartment with peeling paint and leaky faucets. I worked 2 jobs. I learned to budget down to the last cent. But for the first time in years, I felt free. No eyes judging my every move, no voice reminding me I didn't belong. Months passed. I built a small business offering home organization services. It began slowly, one client, then a referral. People trusted me. They welcomed me into their cluttered spaces and vulnerable lives. And I didn't just clean their homes, I listened to their stories. Widows, single moms, retirees downsizing, each with a heart, a journey, a need. One of my clients, Mrs. Rosen, a sweet widow in her 70s, treated me like family. She lived modestly but smiled like she had everything. One day, after finishing her pantry, she clasped my hand and said, "You remind me of myself. Brave, even when life wasn't kind." Weeks later, I got a letter. Mrs. Rosen had passed away, and left me her home. No strings. No clauses. Just a note, "You deserve a place that's yours." I wept on the front steps of that little blue cottage for what felt like hours. It wasn't just the gift, it was being seen, valued, loved, for who I was, not what I brought to someone else. Years later, when Luke saw my story featured in a local magazine, my organizing business now thriving, my own home glowing behind me, he reached out. He said he was proud. That he always knew I was capable. I didn't reply. Because some homes are built with walls. Others, with love. And mine. Mine had no prenup. Just peace. No matter how small you start, when you choose dignity over comfort, and love over resentment, the world has a way of giving you back a home, far greater than the one you lost.